Hello, I'm Debbie Bell Hosking for FinextraTV here in our virtual studio, and I'm joined by Alessio Castelli, who is the Head of Marketing and Sales at CBI. And we're going to be talking ahead of the NextGen Nordics event in Stockholm. Now, if you've attended that before, you know that we like to take that first-rate research off the page and then drive it even further forward in discussion. So on that note, Alessio, welcome to our virtual studio.
Thank you, Debbie.
I know you are going to be at NextGen Nordics.
Yeah, I will attend.
Yes, which will be wonderful because then we'll meet in person. And it is no surprise, Alessio, that fraud and financial crime are on the agenda. It has been, of course, in past events. But the question I ask you is, do you think the industry is at a loss for fully preventative measures against financial crime?
Yeah, I think that today we have a strong asset as a banking industry, which is represented by the trust of our customers, and this is something that we don't need to we need to maintain. Because it is a distinctive element of our industry, of our business. So we know that there are some acceleration in frauds, acceleration in technologies, which needs some regulation answers as investments from the banking industry. Even if these investments are not required by laws or are not mandatory, for instance. I think that within this landscape, it is important to maintain a collaborative approach, which could be able to ensure interoperability and circularity of information among all the actors involved in the financial industry, from payment service provider to central bureau or central, national and competent authorities as well, in order to exchange informational flows, able to understand new fraud patterns and new situations of frauds within the industry. Another important item is represented by the education of the industry towards final customers, public governments, companies, and so on. Because today we know very well that the large majority of the frauds are due to human errors instead of digital asset faults. And so for this reason, it's very important to introduce new technologies, like for instance, artificial intelligence or machine learning, in order to scan immediately new fraud situations or new fraud behaviors within the industry.
I'm listening to you now, and I'm also thinking about things I've been reading online. So you're talking about the adoption of new technologies and perhaps changes in infrastructure, and you even mentioned their human error. There is a lot of chat online now about a need for a cultural shift. Do you think we are in need of a cultural shift in banking?
I do not think that we need a cultural shift, but of course we need a cultural upgrade. Because all the actors involved within the industry have to play their role. For instance, the technical provider have to be resilient within this marketing arena, like other security provider have to face, have to show an innovative and proactive behavior in order to help banks and other financial institutions in counteracting the frauds activities. Again, financial institutions and public governments should educate the final customers, corporate or retail, in order to have a common sense and a common understanding of the new problems rising with the artificial intelligence, for instance, deep fakes or social engineering frauds. And this is very important because 95% of the frauds today are based on human errors, as stated before. So we can invest heavily in new IT assets, on new technologies, on new applicative instruments, but the human behaviors, and so with the human behaviors, obviously also the cultural background has a pivotal role within the fraud scenario.
It's interesting again to hear you talk about human error and the need for awareness, but also what I'm hearing from you is this constant will of change, not only from fighting fraud, but techniques and tactics that the fraudsters use. And so, of course, this conversation continues. Now, I can see, chatting to you now, I see you have a lovely backdrop of Rome. And so you're based in Italy. So can I ask you, knowing that you're going to attend the NextGen Nordics, can I ask you, how, in your view, how does the approach of the payments industry in Italy differ, A, from the Nordics, and B, in the context of a wider global community?
Yeah, thank you. Of course, I will attend the NextGen Nordics event due to its importance within the European landscape for the finance industry. I think that in Italy we are similar to Nordic countries in our approach to the financial community, because we have in Italy about 500 banks and payment service providers, and we have a strong collaborative approach even through my companies, which is a public limited consortium company founded 30 years ago, and today composed of 400 of banks and financial institutions to fight all the innovation new phases of the financial industry. So in Italy there is a strong sense of collaboration, of community within the financial community, and I think that in the Nordics we have a pretty similar situation. Not in the numbers of the banks, but in the strong sense of community within the country for the financial collaborative ecosystem. And so this is something that is very useful within the financial industry, because it could help to reach interoperability, circularity within anti-fraud systems, as well as in value-added services and payments instruments as well, which require reachability of both customers and payment service providers among each other. And I think that is not so common outside Europe, in the rest of the world, where we see a lot of fragmentation in terms of market, in terms of standards, in terms of technical specifications. In Europe, thanks also to the Payment Service Directive 2, for instance, we have some common rules. There are still some specifications in each country, but I think that a collaborative approach, as the one that we have in Italy and the one present in the Nordics country, is, of course, a strong key success factor.
Thank you, Alessio. And again, through a lot of what you've been saying in our conversation is that word collaboration or collaborative approach coming through. And absolutely, I hope we get to collaborate on the ground at NextGen Nordics and we can meet in person. Until then, can I just say thank you so much for joining us and sharing your views here in our virtual studio.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you for this opportunity. Have a great evening.